Come back, you're still watching Breakfast Central. Now time to take you to the world of sport. We'll be starting from what's happening in Mozambique, where the Pharaohs of Egypt, they sealed qualification to the semi-finals of the Beach Soccer African Cup of Nations. After beating Uganda 6-2 on Monday, Egypt will square off against fellow North African nation Morocco, who best Malawi 7-3 for a place in the finals. In the other games, Senegal made it 3 wins out of 3, beating Madagascar 8-4 in their third match of the Beach Soccer African Cup of Nations, the 2022 group stage. Now, of course, moving away from that, let's tell you the results once again. We have the likes of Senegal having to beat Madagascar 8-4, and Malawi went up against Morocco, with Morocco still in that semi-final spot after defeating them 7-3. Egypt also had to defeat the likes of Uganda to get their win. But looking at the standings, we can say that Senegal top Group B over there, and not forgetting Group A, where we've got Egypt 2 and Malawi, Morocco in Group A. Looking at the Group B, Senegal were the African champions, were the defending champions, also a top in there with 9 points. Egypt with 4, Uganda having 3, and Madagascar had no point over there. Away from here, let's take you to the English Premier League. For the game played yesterday, 2 controversial video assistant referee calls handed West Ham a 2-0 win over Bournemouth at the London Stadium. So Kurt Zuma's first goal since November 2021 was allowed to stand by the video assistant referee despite clear handball by the Hammers defender Thilo Kehrer. Algeria's Saïd Benrahma converted a stoppage time penalty after VAR spotted a handball against Bournemouth. In the substitute Jordan Samura, it was Benrahma's 3rd goal of the season. So West Ham climbed up to 10th and into the top half for the first time in the English Premier League. So let's remind ourselves of what the English Premier League standing looks like. Going into this weekend, we have the likes of Arsenal still topping the table in the English Premier League and just follow suit by Manchester City having 26 points. Spurs and Newcastle occupy top 4 of the English Premier League standings. For the 5th and 6th position, we have Chelsea and Manchester United with just 21 and 20 points. Looking at those in the top 10, Fulham, Liverpool, Brighton and West Ham complete the top 10 in the English Premier League standings. But we can say glorious times for Leicester City. They've moved out of the drop zone, leaving the likes of Leeds United, Wolverhampton Wanderers and Nottingham Forest there at the relegation zone, all tied at 9 points. But Leicester City, 17 points there out of the drop zone. So let's say is a sigh of relief for Brendan Rodgers, who is the coach of this side. Now, we must give you good news right now for all those who understand the man who comes with a good evening. Good evening. Arsenal fans can relate so well. Would say Aston Villa, they have announced the appointment of Villarreal manager Unai Emery. Now, he will be the new coach of the side. The Spaniard will take over on November 1 once his work permit has been settled and all formalities has been completed, replacing Steven Gerrard, who was sacked by Aston Villa after a poor result. This means that his first match in Chad will be hosting Manchester United in the Premier League on November 6. Now, November 6 is a date where Chelsea will also take on Arsenal. So that day is a big day, a huge day before the halt of the Premier League going into the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. So Emery, who is no stranger to the English top flight, managed Arsenal from 2018 to 2019. And the man who says good evening, he's back to England to coach Aston Villa. Away from the English Premier League, there will be action once again in the UEFA Champions League as it returns back. We'll be seeing the likes of XV Salzburg there taking on Chelsea, Dynamo Zagreb will taking on AC Milan. Away from here to Group F, where Celtic will take Shakhtar Donetsk and RB Leipzig will be taking on Real Madrid. The Group G fixtures see Sevilla up against Copenhagen. Borussia Dortmund will take on Manchester City. And that's the game everybody wants to talk about. Will Haaland record another goal? A big question to answer after 90 minutes of action. Group A's fixture will see Benfica taking on Juventus and Paris Saint-Germain will take on Maccabi Haifa. Well, let's remind you the groupings right now, which topping the groups in all the fixtures for today. Remember that Paris Saint-Germain will have to do all they can with the likes of Neymar, Kylian Mbappe and also Lionel Messi coming to the rescue. Let's see if he can have a go once again in the group standings there. But away from here, we can say Chelsea. What is happening to Chelsea? They are topping Group E there with 7 points. Salzburg just 1 point adrift there behind Chelsea. AC Milan are still trying to struggle their way out. So let's see if they can get to top of Salzburg today, if they come out so well in their fixture for the UEFA Champions League. Dynamo Zagreb are sharing point with AC Milan there, so it's a big struggle between those two teams. Moving away from here, let's see what's happening in Group F. So the Group F, it's a battle. It's a battle between Leipzig and Shakhtar Donetsk. But Real Madrid, yes, they have gotten it. Just one game to spare, and see if they can add up to that point there to make it, to make them have a top win after 3 wins, 1 loss, no loss and 1 draw in the Group F fixture. So they are dominant there in Group F. Moving away from here, let's see what's happening in Group H or G right now for the UEFA Champions League. Manchester City still topping. 10 points there, having played 4 games, had 3 wins and 1 draw in the UEFA Champions League. Borussia Dortmund are 3 points adrift and 7 points just behind Manchester City. Sevilla and Copenhagen, of course, they have no hopes there because they've got Dortmund and Man City dominating the group. In Group H, let's see what it looks like also. Paris Saint-Germain and Benfica will have to fight their way out. The game today will be a big decider to know who tops the group in Group H. Remember that Paris Saint-Germain and Benfica are tied at 8 points each after 4 games played. Paris Saint-Germain having 2 wins, 2 draws, no loss. The same thing, Benfica carrying the same result. 2 wins, 2 draws, no loss after 4 games played. Juventus and Maccabi Haifa from Israel will have to battle their way there. If Juventus can cause a stunner today, they go atop, maybe occupying 2nd position there with Paris Saint-Germain still dominating at #1 spot in Group H. All right, remember that it's all about separating the boys from the men, because we've got some teams who's going to joining up with the teams in the Europa League to battle for top spot there. All right, remember also that these fixtures are exciting ones and will have to come to form. Remember, the English Premier League has now announced the December fixtures after the FIFA World Cup. There will be a hot in the English Premier League, so all games will be played, and there will be 7 games played on the 26th of December, Boxing Day. We cannot wait to see the World Cup gets underway. But these UEFA League Champions League fixtures and all the fixtures we have in Europe Top 5 League will keep the players on check and in good stead going to the FIFA World Cup. There you have it, sport update at this time. Back to you, Osa and Oli, for the rest of Breakfast Central.
Thank you very much. I really just can't wait for Arsenal and Newcastle to, just go back to their regular positions, and stop wasting everybody's time,
Well, Newcastle, you know that this is a Cinderella team. After they had that takeover, buying of the club and all that, we could see Amiron doing so well. He's got the same record with Erling Haaland in the English Premier League. So it's a Cinderella team. I can't wait, with you, the way you said, I can't wait for them to get back to their positions.
But what's the thing with money and English club success? Because is it with the new players they buy, or is there just better training, better energy, better salaries? What exactly does money do for these teams?
Money is the flavor.
Yes, it's the flavor. Yes, it adds spice. And when you've got a lot of money, you can buy the top player in the world. And that top player would also churn out the results you want. Manchester City had the money. They got Erling Haaland. And you see what he's doing for them.
Newcastle doesn't have...
No, they've got the money too. But they are very intentional. They got so intentional with the players they got. Because these are players that nobody saw them coming, as they would say. Nobody saw the Newcastle players coming. They had to just come with the shocker, and they are doing it in the English Premier League. So Newcastle were very intentional with how they spend in the transfer markets.
I think it's safe to say that Newcastle players are in some way related to Ashake because they never saw them coming. Thank you so much, Oye, for joining us for sports.
Wow.